I'm about to finally get to making the beauty berry jelly. The beauty berries I actually picked and harvested several days ago. It was the 25th. I think it's about the 28th now. And I had these wonderful beauty berry stalks. They really last quite a while. I put them in a vase. I've seen them made. You want to make a nice floral arrangement. It's unusual. You could put ferns in these. I put them in some water just so I could hold them over until I got the opportunity to clean them, which I did yesterday. It really does, a lot of little bits and pieces. So I just took the stalks and sat and tried to break them off. I didn't rip them off and everything. I tried to get just the berries that wanted to come off into a large container. Then I took out a lot of the debris. And then this morning, I actually washed them. Tend not to wash berries, herbs until you're ready to use them. It tends to make them break down quicker. So it calls for 2 cups of berries, 2 cups of water. You eventually put in 2 cups of sugar and a packet of pectin. And so I'm going to make it in this way. It's a recipe. There are several recipes. It was one that I found on Southern Living. So I'm going to be, I had some left over. If you see my video on the harvesting of those beauty berries, you'll see I had a lot of those branches. I removed all the leaves from them, which is pretty much what I've seen in the past, because the leaves themselves could kind of take the strength from the stalk. And so I took the leaves off, which I still might do a little experimenting with. They say it can be used for insect repellent, mosquitoes and ants. Some of them talk about just kind of mashing them up and rubbing them on you, or cutting them up really fine and then adding them to some alcohol base. So that's something I might try. We're in Florida, lots of mosquitoes, and now they're talking about all these issues with mosquitoes. So it's something that I'm probably going to try. Again, you want to be careful on something you've never used before. Even if you're not internally consuming it, if you rub it on your skin, you could have a reaction, some kind of a rash, something that could happen. So always test yourself before you do that kind of thing. So this actually calls for putting the water in with the berries, and then you are to mash it with a potato masher or anything else that you might have to mash. This is a large container, so I wouldn't use a small muddler, but there could be a lot of different things. So it just pretty much talks about mashing the beauty berries with the potato masher, and you have your water. So I'm seeing that it says I probably should have waited and put the water in after I mashed it. I didn't do that. Oh well. I believe that when we start cooking it and heating it up, it's going to make the berries a lot more tender, and I could probably go ahead, and if it doesn't look as though it's mashed enough, I can do that. This is an experiment. I like trying this type of thing. So I'm going to have it in the saucepan. I have butane cookers so that I can do this inside of what I call my tree house, my craft room. So we're going to heat this up now. It'll be over medium heat. It says bring to a boil, stirring occasionally, watch for burning, scrape down the sides of the pot. So that's the process we're going to go through. You, of course, don't have to watch me do this whole thing. I'm going to kind of come back and forth to this particular project. It didn't really take very long to get this to boil for the berries to soften. And as it softened and I was seeing it start to boil, I was mashing it with this and I could just hear them kind of popping. So it was really easy once it got, the berries got hot. So now it is calling for, I have a cheesecloth. It's unbleached cheesecloth. It's a real nice fine cheesecloth that I've doubled. And so I'm going to pour this mixture of berries and water into this pot. Take it all out. And then it's let's get all the few pieces here. Get it into the cheesecloth because I'm going to squeeze it, take it out and let it drain. It seems to imply that if it doesn't want to come out easily that you can squeeze it and all that jazz, but it is hot. I'm also a person who does a lot of berry stuff, you know, makes jams and jellies and preserves. So I actually have one of these berry strainers that you can also have. It's a wooden mallet type of thing that goes in here and can make that work. But I'm going to just use this to help me get everything out as far as the juice is concerned. And we're going to pull this out and just see how that goes. It's hot, so I'm going to try to do this easy. Not be in a hurry. I am, even though I'm kind of a speedy person, as people that I work with would call me a zoomer, or I have been called like Speedy Gonzalez, and I can be patient, and I have learned to slow down in my retirement. Yay. So I'm putting this in here so that I can press more of the juice out into this pot. And I can see it really didn't turn brown. I have tried boiling beauty berries once, and it really did get very brown, and I thought something was wrong, and I didn't use it. That was years ago. And now I'm reading more. I've had friends who have made beauty berry jelly, and it did look very beautiful in color, which this is looking actually. So it says if you need to squeeze it more and all that jazz, you can let it cool down. I'm not going to let it cool down. I'm going to try to get out as much as I can so we can get through with the process. Okay. So we'll put that in there. That turns down into not much at all. And then I'm going to take what's in here, run it through this again, because I see a few particles. Not much. And there we go. I have plastic tablecloth over my cloth tablecloth. And I'll get this close and see if we can get it to where you can see how that color looks and not spill it on the floor. There we go. I'm going to put this in a smaller container and then pour this in here, keeping in mind that I started with 2 cups. And so we're going to let this boil down a bit. And again, I kind of want to show you what this color looks like, because it really is quite pretty. Still pretty close to 2 cups. Is that cool? That looks pretty cool. Now, when I actually had cleaned the berries, I actually tasted one, and it really isn't real flavorful, but it had just a slight bit of sweetness. I mean, just a slight bit of sweetness. So I'm kind of interested in seeing how this is going to turn out. Okay. So just to put it in a pot. We're going to put this back on again, and we're going to let it cook. And again, I'm using butane. I'm inside. If you don't use your stove and you only, for some reason, have a propane, do not cook on a propane stove inside of a structure, okay? We want to be safe. So that is going to take a little while to heat up and start boiling, and I'll come back again. It now calls for me to put in, like we normally do, a pack of the Sure-Jell or some form of pectin. And in this case, I am using Sure-Jell, the type that you can use with regular sugar. There's options when it comes to that kind of thing. And now I'm going to put in the sugar, 2 cups. Again, I'm not a sweets person, which is probably a good thing. Lots of diabetes in my family. I'd say that when it comes to jellies, jams, and preserves, the ones that I actually do like are my blueberry preserves, because I like to just don't need a whole lot of it. I will put it on ice cream, a little bit of ice cream if you have vanilla ice cream, pancakes. You don't really need a lot. I also like jalapeno pepper jelly, because I can actually heat that up in the microwave. You can do that with any of the jellies to make them more liquid. And I will use it for a marinade over different anything, fish, chicken, meat. So, even maybe some cornbread with jalapeno jelly. And you don't have to have hot jalapeno jelly. It can be, a milder type so that you can either make it hot or make it not so hot. I'm kind of a medium to low. So we're going to stir this so that it dissolves. And then we're going to cook it for 10 minutes and let it get thick. So again, stay tuned. We're making beauty berry jelly. I will say in here, when you have this bag, I cleaned it pretty well and I took a lot of my debris out. So it in the instructions talked about how you keep the debris in here, how you actually strain it in the cheesecloth. Do it two times, 2 different cheesecloth cuttings. I have a very fine cheesecloth. It's not the the looser weave. So as I showed you, I really didn't have debris in mine, so I didn't feel a need to strain it a second time. And so now it's just a matter of setting my watch, and I can get it, put it on the timer, and we're going to do 10 minutes. Ta-da! Have to put the lids on. Okay, this is hot. I kind of remember that when you do jams and you boil them long enough to make it to where they turn into a jelly. They kind of boil down and become thick. It's hot, so be cautious when you're trying to handle it, put the lids on it, different things like that. Because even with my little gloves on, this is pretty darn hot. I turn it upside down. I've sanitized the jars and I have sanitized the lids. So with this hot jelly, I'm not feeling as though I need to really do water bath. And I have a tendency to turn it upside down to give it that extra. Go. And then this is what is left of the 4 cups after boiling it down. And that will be what I tend to sample. And I tasted it and I was really surprised. I mean, really surprised. To me, it had a bit of almost a tartness. You know, not only sweet, but it had a flavor that I didn't expect. And that's the pretty color. So, yeah, you can make beauty berry jelly. And the interesting thing with that, even with the fact that it's a jelly, it's an unusual jelly. You can't usually go buy it in the store. So to me, this makes a really good gift. You know, put a nice little cloth top on it, put the recipe on a nice little card, add it with some kind of things like a pancake mix that you can put in a basket to give it for a gift. For me, my jalapeno jelly, my blueberry preserves, something that's unusual like this, I would put in a little basket, you know, for some kind of a gift for somebody, and give them ideas as to how they can use it. Like I said, with the blueberries, you can use that with pancakes. With the jalapeno, you can, you know, put that in, you know, for marinating on stuff, you know, that you're cooking meats and things. And now this is, I'm going to have to play with this. Heather, I will save you some. And there's our beauty berry jelly.